I see the liberal media is back at it again. And they are turning the Serena Williams thing into a race thing. They tried the racism, sexism. And look, this stereotype here, this is from an Australian cartoonist. But I want you to be mindful of the word I'm talking about here, of the country, Australian. An Australian cartoonist wrote or drew this picture of Serena Williams, and yes, that's bad. I'm not gonna lie. Serena is not a whatever this thing is. Okay, and that could be called out on a level. You can call it out, say, hey, that's not Serena, but that's not what the liberal media is doing right now, and they're doing like they always do. And they do the liberal media, whether they do it consciously, purposely, or whatever, but they have a habit, I think, of flaming division in this country. They have a habit of flaming division in this country. They have a habit of labeling things racism, labeling things sexism, labeling things homophobic. And they keep that division going. But they once they do that, though, they'll sit back and say, "Oh, it's not us. It's other people." They did it in Charlottesville when there was some folk there who have their set of opinions about certain things, and certainly there are people that are. I don't want to use the word racist, but there are people who are pride, they love their race. And I don't necessarily see loving your race as being a bad thing. All right. And as long as you don't keep somebody else from doing something, right? If you don't hire according to race, sex or gender and all that sort of thing, I think there are laws that have to be in place in certain places. I would admit that. But everything should not be cause for alarm. And certainly when you go back to Charlottesville, and there were some folk who you can say white extremists, I don't know another name to call them. And I don't think that they would be upset at that name. And so if they want to protest, right, and for them wanting to protest, it was a matter of getting together. And some folk don't want them to get together because you can't be a white extremist. You can be a gay extremist. You can even be a black extremist. But you cannot be a white extremist. If you're a white extremist, that's going to be bad, right? That's a bad thing, according to the liberal media. Let's not be white extremists. And I'm not going to make apologies for anything. So I'm not here. I know black folk going to hear this. There are going to be some folk who have been brainwashed by the liberal media that's going to call me a coon, call me a Tom, and all that. And I get it. I'm not going to concern myself with that. But if you go back, that whole thing was flamed by the liberal media, right? So they had this clash. And the liberal media immediately came in, racism, 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 racism. President Trump comes in and says, okay, they're wrong on both sides, right? Which is true. That's an acknowledgement. Oh, man. Oh, you agreeing with the white racist was what that was the headlines in the liberal media. And they don't understand that's what flames the division. And there are a lot of white folk that are upset or don't understand the Black Lives Matter deal. But here's what the liberal media won't tell you. There are a lot of black folk that don't understand the Black Lives Matter deal either. Liberal media, again, tamps those stories down, okay? And understand this, how many organizations do you know, right? You know how many organizations get started on a daily basis? How many of them get the publicity that Black Lives Matter got? Why would you imagine that was so? Why did Black Lives Matter get so much attention? Who has the power to make Black Lives Matter a national conversation? The liberal media. Why? To flame division. You go back to President Obama's years in office. Were there some people who were upset that he was a black man? Of course, yeah. Yeah, I can admit that. But I don't think that those folk were in the majority. Otherwise, he couldn't have won. So the liberal media, in my opinion, fuels the division in this country. And they will blame it on Obama. Because on both sides, it could be media period can do some of that. Some conservative media could blame some things on Obama. But conservative media, there's just not that many of them. They're just not that powerful. And I think what happens a lot of time, again, I don't make apologies for anybody, but I think sometimes on the conservative media side, they try to blow it louder sometimes because they don't have the numbers. The liberal media has more of the numbers, and they are responsible, in my opinion, for a lot of the division in the country. And it comes down to, because it's a liberal conservative thing, and it's all about power. Liberals have decided that in order to be in power, they feel they need the minority vote, people of color, the genders and all that. And in order to keep folk on their side, they decided they would flame the division, flame the hatred, make it seem like it was bigger than it was. And what happens a lot when you are a regular person, whether you're a regular black person or a regular white person, a lot of the things that the liberal media puts out there is not things that inflame you, right? A lot of white folk, when they see certain things, again, now they are some white folk who could be the classical racists, but they some black folk could be that too. So I'm not speaking. There's always exceptions to rules, is what I'm trying to say. But the vast majority of the things that happen are not done with a racist thought in their mind, right, or a sexist thought. And the media's thing behind that, he don't even know he racist, right? That's the first thing. Oh, he don't even know. But that's racist. So they flame it and they keep that division going. I just hope people would think for themselves sometimes. Again, people know I like the press. I like the media. I think we need it. But, come on. They can be an arm for liberals. The media is an arm for the liberals, and it's always going to be a power struggle. Liberals, conservatives, all want power. They all want to lead the country in a certain way. Conservatives are a little more honest about their thought processes. Liberals keep it to themselves. They feign acceptance. They feign, this anti-racism, anti-gender bias and all that kind of stuff, when really and truly it's all a power ploy. All right, that's my take on it.